Welcome, everyone. I'm Marv Henberg, and I have the privilege of being the president of this fine institution. And what a turnout. Marty and Cheryl, I think you know how warmly you're held in the hearts of all these friends, alumni, leaders, trustees, and friends of the college who've turned out. This has definitely exceeded our expectations, but that's a good thing. And let's hope that come football season we get the same kind of response. Welcome to a most auspicious day at the College of Idaho. We are here to dedicate the Marty Hawley Athletic Center, the first new campus building in 12 years. It is a building that celebrates both physical and mental vigor. It adds much-needed classroom space, high-tech space that is part of our commitment to provide digital learning options for our faculty and our students. It contains office space for coaches in soccer, track and field, cross-country, and football. Its weight room, training room, and cardio mezzanine will be open to all students, faculty, and staff at the college. In a phase 2, for which we are actively doing fundraising now, this wall will be partially blown out and we will add an outdoor education center so that we'll have an athletics and outdoor education center, a multi-purpose room, and office space for the ski team. The combination of outdoor education and athletics makes a whole lot of sense simply because the basic requirement for success in both athletics, team athletics, and in outdoor education is that combination of physical vigor and mental acuity that one needs in those pursuits. The project is the work of many hands, both externally and internally. Before I proceed to recognize those people, let me first acknowledge the presence of a few distinguished community visitors. Mayor Garrett Nancolis. There he is right back there. Garrett is a partner extraordinaire in facilitating the most productive town-gown relations that a president could ever hope for. We will be celebrating our city partnership on the Simplot Stadium project on other occasions, but this building too would not have been possible without his support and the support of the City Council. And from the City Council, we have Council President Jim Blacker, Councilman Rob Hopper, and I believe, did anyone else sneak in from the council? So please acknowledge them as well. Thank you for coming. We are also partners with the Canyon County Commissioners, and I believe Commissioner Steve Rule is in the audience someplace. Steve? We also have a great Yotes sports fan in Representative Darrell Bowles. From the Cascade Conference, we have our Cascade Conference Commissioner, Rob Cashel. Our architects and contractors have done superior work on a very tight schedule, refusing to let a wet and cold winter deter them from keeping on schedule. Representing Hummel Architects are Principal Scott Strubar and his team of John King, Clayton Cheney, and Karen Hauser, right over here. Representing Anderson Construction, our Senior Project Manager, Jason Osterberg, Construction Manager, Denny Robertson, and Stephanie Glory. I think they're up there someplace. Many, many people deserve recognition internally. First among them is our former Vice President for Finance and Administration, Petra Carver. Petra began at the beginning with the original business plan for football, with securing architects and contractors, with wrestling an ambitious building plan into budgeted reality, and in working with principals at both Hummel and Anderson Construction. Petra was ably assisted by Director of Facilities Kyle Abrahamson, who did a splendid job in working out the inevitable puzzles that arise when drawings are converted to bricks and mortar. Leading the fundraising was Vice President for College Relations, Michael Vandervilden, ably assisted by Director of Development Jack Cafferty and Director of Sports Marketing Joe Hughes. Associate Athletic Director Regan Rossi came into her new role during construction and has borne the brunt of coordinating the final stages of preparation and move-in. Head football coach Mike Morosky cannot be here today because of coaches' meetings for the Northwest Conference, but he stood firm in advocating for more training and weight room space while sacrificing other items in the original program that he thought less important. And now, of course, comes the man we have all come here to celebrate. His name is emblazoned in gold lettering on the front of the building. Athletic Director Marty Hawley is a wonder to us all. It has certainly been a highlight of my 5 years at the college to have gotten to know him and to call him a friend. Marty does nothing by half measures. His passion for this college and its students, faculty, and staff is boundless. He has persistence, belief, and energy. When I need bucking up, I go down to Marty's office for a pep talk, and he unfailingly delivers. I leave with a new swing in my step and the confidence to face whatever challenges await. He has that effect, I believe, on everyone. On his 20 seasons of basketball players whom he coached to an astonishing .730 winning percentage, on the present coaches who are among the most loyal and long-lived coaches in the Cascade Conference, and on his peers nationally, who named him last year the NAIA Athletic Director of the Year. There are nearly 400 NAIA schools, and so Marty is first among 400 athletic directors nationally, unambiguously, unqualifiedly. I can't think of a better way to encapsulate the deserving honor of naming this building for him. Now it is my distinct pleasure to yield the microphone to one of Marty's former players, our recently elected board chair, Doug Brigham.
What a great day to be a Yote, huh? Isn't this amazing? On behalf of the Board of Trustees, many of whom are here today, and I won't introduce them all by name, but I'm honored to be up here. I would ask any former and any current trustees if you would just raise your hand and be recognized now. I would note that several of those trustees flew up just for this occasion from out of town. It's amazing. I'd also like to recognize personally my predecessor, Judge Candy Dale. Judge Dale led the Board of Trustees through the review of the football initiative and ultimately through the successful vote of adding football. And Candy, I'd like you to raise your hand and be recognized. So I feel like I'm a pretty lucky guy today. You heard Marty was here for 34 years. I was lucky enough for 4 of those 34 to call him coach. And as I look around the room and I see guys like Jim Smutney and Mark Owen, Scott Howard, John Moore, Jim Grigsby, all of us, we're all lucky enough to call him coach. And so I'm honored to be up here representing all of those former athletes in honoring Marty in this building. And I had some other things I was going to say that I thought about over the last few days, and when I walked into this building, I kind of threw those thoughts out the window because it just hit me like a wave of the difference between this facility and what I remember. And for those of you that have been around, you remember the old Kirkpatrick gym. And my first memory of Marty Hawley was having to go meet Coach at his office. And you know, I had expectations of what Coach Hawley's office would be, and that ain't what it was. So I find Coach Hawley in the basement of Kirkpatrick in an office that maybe on a good day was as big as a coat closet. And it had a desk in it that I think Dr. Boone probably bought used in 1891 when he started the school. So my first memory is seeing Marty in that office, and I remember sitting there and he gets a phone call, and he doesn't answer it Coach Hawley, he answers it College of Idaho Athletics. He didn't even have a direct line as the coach. This was the general line for the athletic program. He answers it, and it's obviously not for him, probably for Dave Hahn. And he says, well, hold on, let me transfer this call. So I'm sure the caller's thinking he's really hitting a button and transferring this call. No, Marty grabs the phone, carries the phone down the hall to Dave Hahn, and that's how you transferred a call back then. And then my other memory is walking in to the weight room in the basement of Kirkpatrick, which we had one weight set, and on a good day it had maybe 3 different weights. It kind of varied what they were. But I'm walking down the stairs to get to that weight room, and I hear this noise in the room next to the weight room. I poke my head in, it's the laundry room. And who's in there but the national champion to be, Coach Marty Hawley, and what's he doing? He's doing laundry for our practice the next day. Coach, I haven't cleared this with Dr. Henberg, but I'm pretty sure that you're not going to have to do laundry in the new building here. But that's a little bit about the facilities, but it's also about Marty and who he is. And, you know, it's never about Marty Hawley. My favorite story is that same freshman year, we've just won conference tournament. We're going to go to nationals in Kansas City, very first time. Great team. And I'm going downstairs again to Kirkpatrick, sitting outside Marty's office, and he and Coach Connor, Bus Connor, the assistant coach, are in there. They don't know I'm outside in the hall. And I hear him talking about traveling to Kansas City. And I hear Coach Hawley say, geez, we've only got enough money to send 10 guys. Now, I'm not very smart, but I'm pretty good at math. And as a freshman, I could count through 10 guys, and my name didn't come up first on who would be on that list. And there were 12 of us. And so I'm pretty entertained and really interested in where this conversation's going. And the next thing, and I'll never forget it because it's typical Marty Hawley, the next thing out of his mouth was, there's no way we can't take all 12 guys. They all practiced all year. They're a team. We're not going without all 12 guys. And to this day, I don't know who he called, where the money came from, but I know at the end of that week, I was on a plane ride to Kansas City. And to me, that's Marty Hawley. He doesn't care about himself. He should have been game planning. Should have been doing a lot of game planning because we lost. but he should have been game planning. He could have been doing interviews about himself. Probably could have had his resume out for better jobs. But no, he's sitting there trying to figure out, how am I going to get an extra couple $100 so the 12th man out of 12 can get on that plane and go. That's what he's about. He's done it for 34 years. Coach, on behalf of all of us former players, current players, I look around, I see all these coaches, current coaches, past coaches. This is a huge tribute to you that we're all here today, and it's so deserving, and thank you for all you've done. Appreciate it. Now it's my pleasure to introduce a couple of folks who have led the football fundraising committee and the fundraising for this beautiful complex, and that's John and Linda Bequette. They, along with Jim Grigsby, have led this effort, and more importantly, they've been significantly generous contributors to this effort. And I'll turn it over to Linda now for a few comments.
Doug, you sparked a little memory there talking about Kirkpatrick Gym. You never had the privilege of seeing 80 football players in that facility. So you can only imagine that giant weight room stuffed full of football players. It was a sight to behold. But Linda and I have been most pleased to be asked to serve as chairman of the fundraising committee. But the real credit goes to all those who were on that committee. And I won't name them all, but if they'll all raise their hand. It was through all their help that this vision came to fruition. Now my wife, Linda. Thank you.
Excuse me. Well, I'm a little concerned because I looked over at Marty and his notes look a lot like mine, and he's doing a lot the same thing, scratching and putting in. And so when they asked John and myself to chair this committee, they said, "It'll be easy. You don't have to do anything." Does it look like it was easy? No, it's not been easy. And they said, "You'll never have to ask anybody for money." And so they lied. And they said, "You'll never have to make a speech." And this is the second speech I've had to make. And both of them for Marty. So trying to find nice things to say about Marty. Anyway, so my job is to thank all of the fundraisers. And I was supposed to name some of the bigger donors too. But, you know, I don't think it matters whether you gave $10 or you gave $10,000 or you stuffed envelopes or you helped at one of the fundraiser events, or you provided entertainment, or you gave us the name of contacts, or gave us some advice, or maybe you contributed some food for the football banquet, or whatever you've done. It doesn't matter if you gave of your money or your time, of yourself, you gave. And so I want to thank everybody who contributed, because it's not just the big dollars we need. We need the little dollars, and we need all of the support and the belief in the program. So thank you all and everybody who's here today. And I also want to be sure and thank the community of Caldwell, because they have been most generous in working with us and most supportive. And the other thing is that I know that those of you who have given, you didn't do it to get a thank you or a verbal acknowledgement. You did it because you believe in the center, in the program, and you do it, and the school and Marty. And so the way we can thank you is by making a success of this program, and this building obviously shows that we've done that. Thinking about giving. I've been on the board for about 30 years now. And when I came on the board of trustees, alumni giving was, I don't know, in the single digits, I believe. It was terrible. Kind of the attitude while I was here and going to school and then on the board was, well, if the college needs money, Simplot's will take care of it, or Albertsons will take care of it, the family. Those families did step up a lot, and they took care of a lot of things very generously. But I really didn't like that mindset that, yeah, you know, somebody else will do it. Well, I was just talking to Jack Cafferty the other day, and he said that alumni giving is at an all-time high. It's at 37%. I was so pleased to hear that. The whole mentality has changed. We know that the school gave us a lot. We need to give back to the school, to the future students, and so I want to thank everyone who's contributed to that. Almost over. Okay. So, a few people that I want to recognize. And this person is going to deny everything. But if it weren't for Jim Grigsby, none of this would be here. It was, gosh, I think about 20 years ago that Jim first had the vision that we need a football program. We need an athletic center. We need to get things moving here. We need to provide a facility for all of those athletes who are going out of state to play small college ball athletics. And so it was Jim Grigsby who proposed this. It was his vision, and it was his tenacity that got it going. He had a lot of naysayers. He had a lot of presidents he had to work through, but he believed in it, and that's why it's here. He's a good man and a good friend. The other person is Harry Bettis. And I don't know, I haven't seen Harry here today, but I never knew Harry very well. But he was one of my dad's favorite people. They worked together a lot. And, oh gosh, my dad had some great stories about Harry. And, but he loved Harry. And so through this process, I've come to know Harry, and I can call him a friend now, and I love that man. And, you know, he comes off as kind of a crusty old son of a gun, you know, and it's kind of, but I'll tell you what, he is one of the most generous, kind-hearted men you'll ever meet. And just so you know, you can get anything you want off of him with a homemade pie, I found out. But a lot of something else you might not know about Harry is, well, of course, we all know he's very humble. You know that to look at him. But I bet a lot of you don't know that Harry Bettis graduated first in his class at Stanford University. Yeah, pretty impressive. So anyway, a huge thanks to Harry and his family. Harry had a couple strings attached to his gift. Number one, it was supposed to stay anonymous. Well, we finally, let that cat out of the bag. But with his and his foundation's gift, he had the right to name the center. Well, he didn't want his name on it. The only way he would give that money is if it were to be named after Marty Hawley. So I think that speaks very highly of both Harry and of Marty. Okay, the last person I have to talk about is Marty. And I don't think there's much I can say that you all don't know about Marty. He's a man of character, enthusiasm, positive attitude, love of humanity. And it's because of Marty that the athletes at this school are to be students first. Secondly, they're to be good members of the community and the campus. And after that, then they're to be athletes. And Marty's word is his bond. And my favorite Marty Hawley story that I can tell in public was when I was on the board, and he was telling me that they had this great basketball prospect they wanted. Great kid. And he was kind of taking his mind about deciding whether he was going to sign or not. Well, by the time, nothing had been formally signed. It was just a handshake deal that, if you'll come to the college, we'll do this for you. In the meantime, while this kid was waiting to sign, Marty found somebody who was a much better prospect, and Marty really wanted this young man, but he couldn't have both. So I said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to do what I have to do. He said, I told that first young man he's got to deal with us, and so he's got to deal with us. And that's the way it was. He honored his word. And one thing, Doug said that, Marty could have been there writing his resume after all of his accolades and his championships, but something most of you probably know is that Marty didn't need to write a resume. Marty has a box full of letters from universities all over the country that were begging him to come and be the head of their program. But Marty loved the college, and he stayed here. So now we have Boone Hall, which we should have because of William Judson Boone. We have Simplot Hall. We have the Catherine Albertson Building and the J.A. Albertson Building. And so, of course, we need to have the Marty Hawley Building because he's as much of a part of the school as any of them. So here's Marty.
I'm very proud of this. This came yesterday, and I was going to give it to Marv. I want to hopefully on his desk for a while, but it is the Director's Cup for all sports in the NAIA, and we finished 10th. We've never finished really in the close to the top 10. It's based on how you do in every sport, and the amount of money, the financial aid, scholarship, if you will, that we put in compared to the 9 ahead of us doesn't compare. And yet our coaches, who are as good as anywhere, we're number 10 in the country in the Director's Cup. It may not seem like a lot, but that is quite an achievement. Out of this year, we have 19 teams, and 16 are national academic All-American teams, 16 out of 19. And honestly, the other 3 were right at 2.8, 2.9. So, and you have to be a 3-point. So we need to be proud of that. We need to be proud of what our athletes do. While Doug was speaking, he said he heard me talking. That was always a problem. It's a problem for every coach right now. How do we get kids to national tournaments? We don't have budgets for it. And coaches go through the same thing today that I did 34 years ago or whatever it was. And Doug said somehow he found the money. I don't know what call he made to be able to take him. All I can say to Doug is, now we're calling you Doug. Life's crazy. Doug, my wife's 20 years younger than me, and she has some eye issues or something. And Doug they went to grade school together and high school together. So Doug and Cheryl are very, very close. Life's crazy. How do I wind up married to Doug's grade school friend? But first I need to thank my family, Cheryl, who is everything to me. Maddie, Ryan, the three of them are out of state. They couldn't be here, Brandy, Jeff, and T. But Brenda and Jim, Keaton, Peyton, my Cheryl's sister's kids, and Pepper, my mother-in-law. I have a lot of family here, and we all know family's everything. And but this is another family, and I think that's used too much. As a coach, we're a family. Coaches say that all the time, and I think too much. But yet there is a unique bond between a coach and the team. And it's very important to me that all our coaches understand that, and we are asked for enrollment to have bigger rosters than we probably need, and that does create problems for coaches. But our coaches, I would sure like to think, treat the 30th person on the baseball team like they do the best player. And we try to teach the right things about athletics. And there's plenty of great things about being on a team and about coaching that is unique to other things. The faculty here, as close as I think coaches are to a lot of their athletes, I just was talking to Kerry Hunter about this, the faculty here is the nucleus, the foundation of this institution. Players come back, athletes come back 10, 15, 20 years. They want to see a faculty member for the most time before a coach. That speaks volumes to me about our faculty. And I'll say one more thing about our faculty. During our crisis, our latest one, we've had lots of them. 10 years or so ago, when we had to make incredible cuts as a group, as a family, led by the president and trustees and everybody involved at the College of Idaho. And we had to cut incredible amounts of money from the budget right now. And the faculty, this is as important to me as anything that's ever happened. The faculty said to the budget committee, to the trustees, to the president, don't cut athletics. I'll never get over that. Don't cut athletics, the faculty. I think, to me, the faculty understanding how pivotal, how important athletics done right on this campus is. We're at campus, we're going to approach 1,200, I think, pretty quick here, and it's faculty go out of their way to work. Regan, my associate, has done such a good job along with John, our vice president, of bringing the faculty and the coaches together. And I'm sure there are places who are like that, have the faculty and the coaches together. But I don't know of one better. We listen to them, and they try to help us. And it's a relationship, I think, that speaks volumes about us as a family, as a group. I think back to the day Doug talked about, my first day on campus. First day. I had President's Council, we called it then, or senior management team now, but basically the same thing. Dick Carroll, my Torrance friend, we went to the same high school. He was 10 years ahead of me. He was the athletic director and ex-basketball coach, and he was relieved of duty. And I walked into that weight room, and Kirkpatrick, not knowing who he was, he really not knowing who I was, and it was he and I. Awkward moment. But I think people who know Coach Carroll, he embraced me. He talked about this institution and what it meant to him. And we've been friends ever since. I still don't understand how he had one phone. We literally had one phone with a 200-foot, Louis laughs, but you know it's true, with a 200-foot extension, and we would get a call and say, hang on, and run down the hall and leave that phone with that person, and that person would answer the next. And my first day, I went to President's Council, first thing on campus, and they said, you have to lay off your secretary. And the secretary hated me to begin with because she loved Dick. And I have to walk in the very first day and say and lay her off. And I said, what did I get myself into? But what I got myself into was one of the best places that anyone, people who don't know the College of Idaho and what it stands for, I feel sorry for them, because it's a place that is, Doug talked about all these letters that are waiting for offering me jobs. I don't know where those letters are, Doug. But I did have some opportunities to go to a higher level, make maybe some more money, but I couldn't leave this place. I fell in love with this place, and I look around our coaches right now, and on this level, coaching turnover at other institutions, Marvin knows this, is very, very high. For whatever reason, our coaches don't leave. They stay, they work hard, they love their jobs, and I think it's probably true with faculty. It's a tremendous place to work. Are we perfect? No. Do we have our ups and downs? Yes. But if you look at the presidents and the trustees over the years, what a wonderful job the leadership has done to keep this place going. Marv Henberg, the Rhodes Scholar, he and I have a lot in common in that area. And I don't think Marv came here to have his legacy football. I know he didn't, but he is smart. And he said to me a couple of days, I think it was on the 28th of December, a couple of years ago, right? We were both in the office, and called me in and said, we're going to start football. I said, Marv, you'll never get it done. You can't get this done. We've tried, and we won't go into the reasons it didn't work prior to that. But I feel kind of bad that I said that to him, but I was speaking from the heart, and we had tried before, and I said, you'll never get it past the faculty or students, and unanimously, the faculty supported it and the students. And from maybe 5 or 6 years ago, when we tried to start it before, and they threw me off the stage talking to the faculty and students, we don't want football, to now, you know what the faculty's mad at? We don't get reserved seats. That's a pretty good turnaround, and I think, Marv, when you look at Dr. Henberg, and next year is his last year, and you evaluate where the school was when he took over and where it is, both enrollment, endowment, buildings, giving rates, retention rates, I think people will rate him as one of the top presidents C of I has had, and you need to hear that, Mark. But you look, who deserves, who's responsible, really the key people for starting football, which I think is going to be, well, Marv said, be terse, and I'm going to be, but, the people that, Marv, Petra, the mayor, Coach Rossi, Kyle, Jim Grigsby, Linda, John, and all the committee from Joe to, you know who you are, I won't embarrass you, but Buzz Bonamita, what a pain in the ass. Where is he? Where is he? And I say that with love because you got it done. I look at this. There were how many things in higher education really produce income for schools? You know, continuing ed, the paper, the profit colleges, get your master's degree online, that does well. Some law schools, some medical schools, but most schools, the undergraduate programs need to be subsidized, and we're no different than anybody else. But I think we set goals for football. There are about 7 of them. And how many things in life, but really in higher education, do you exceed every goal? And I look at, I think we've raised over $2 million, 2.4 or something right now. We're about $1 million ahead of schedule. We'll make our goal. Our goal was to bring in 35 students during 0 year last year, have 95 football players the first year. We're going to have 120 to 125, at least Lorna hopes so. And we will, to get a new building in a little over a year, to get a football stadium that is going to be as good as any on our level, built, to hire a staff that we had nothing, to get in a conference, to get a schedule. All these things are incredibly hard, and we've exceeded every one. The sponsorship for football, people want to be a part of football. I think I was even naive about we probably, if we wanted, we could have many more students. We're going to have to be patient with football. It's a 4-year process to be as good as we're going to get. We're going to be, I think, pretty okay the first year, but we're playing with 19-year-old kids against 23-year-old men, and we're thin, but we have coaches with morals and want the same thing and won't sacrifice it. Marv set down the standards for the job, and we do have the first year. Last year, I think the grade point average for incoming freshmen was right around 3.59, in that neighborhood, and football players were equal or perhaps at one time even a little higher. We brought in character, and I think our football coaches, what a job they've done. Holy moly. So it's an exciting time. Caldwell, the mayor, the city council, we always hear the word town and gown. That's a term on college campuses. And I've never, ever seen it like it is now. The mayor started the Y, or Jim Everett and he and our group, and I think that has done as much for Caldwell as anything, exceeded everyone's expectations. Your Honor, I think this is going to be on that level. We're going to make Caldwell, people know exactly what it is. And I'm going to end up by saying this. When Linda and Jim came to my house and said, we want to name the building after you, I have some insecurities, and I want you to put yourself in my shoes. How do you react to having a building named after you? There is no right way, I don't think. But I say this, to say I am honored, to say I am humbled, to say that I am so proud, because I really am proud. And the College of Idaho puts out the best students, the best, our product, if you will, and it's because of a team effort. And to have a building named after me, all I can say is I am so humbled. My grandkids can come and see. That's pretty cool. To my friends in this room, to everyone, all I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you, and go Yotes.